Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know it is Monday. It is 8:30. It is the debut of Inside the Octagon, only on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. My name is Paul Spencer, and the man next to me.
Josh, Showtime, what's good with y'all?
You already know, Josh. Josh, we got an action-packed show tonight. What are we talking about tonight?
We got to talk about UFC 302.
Ooh, you already know. And also, regarding 302, we got to talk about Dustin Poirier. The retirement, yes, no, what happens? Anything else, Josh?
I mean, can't have a show without talking about the Mac Man, Mac Daddy, Conor McGregor.
Ooh, will it happen? Will it not? So, you know what? Stay tuned. We'll be back in 1 minute to get the show started. So, get your popcorn ready. We'll be back in 1 minute to get the show started. All right, everybody, it's time. It is Inside the Octagon. Welcome to the show. My name is Paul Spencer. That is Josh Showtime. Josh, man, I am so happy about this show starting up, man. How are you feeling?
I am super excited, man. I'm always down to talk fights. And we had a big pay-per-view that just happened. So, hey, look, I'm always here.
Yes. Josh, before we get started, man, listen, I want to tell the people out there, for the first time, we had a UFC show 2 years ago. It stopped for numerous reasons, but I'm glad this is back with, myself and you, of course. We talk on Twitter a lot. Josh, talk about yourself, man. Where can people find you, of course? What is Josh Showtime about, first of all?
Well, first things first, that is my actual name. That is not a trademark. It's not a nickname. That is my name. 2, you can find me on all social medias at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime, whichever one you can find me at. And I'm always around. I'm always down for a good debate, always down for education, and also to educate people because people like to talk alike.
Exactly. I mean, that's the one thing about sports, man. When you have two passionate fans, they might agree and disagree on something, but your job is to make me understand what you're saying. My job is to make you understand what you're saying. That's what it's all about. But Josh, let me ask you real quick. What got you into UFC, Josh? I mean, you're still a young buck, man. I can see that.
What got me in there? So I am a wrestler. I'm always going to state myself as a wrestler, always will be a wrestler. Right after, around my senior year, I didn't know if I wanted to wrestle in college. I eventually did, but started training MMA, started watching it a little bit more, and I fell in love with Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was basically Neo in the Matrix. He was the guy that got me into loving it, thinking it was absolutely crazy. And then the second person, which people will really not understand, but I'm a wrestler, so maybe you will, Josh Koscheck. He had the same name. He was a wrestler. He talked a lot of trash. And he was a little quirky. I really liked him a lot. So that was the 2 guys that really got me into MMA and made me love it.
Gotcha, man. I love those 2 great names right there, first and foremost. Josh, where did you wrestle at? Where did you wrestle at, though?
I wrestled at, I'm sorry, real quick. I just had to play something real quick. I wrestled at Liberty University. My first year, we were Division I, but then Title IX came in and kicked us out. So then after that, we were a club team. So I was a club wrestler for 3 years. And yeah, I placed in conference. I made it to the national tournaments, never All-American, but, just competitive wrestler.
I love that. Just passion first, man. You stick with what, got you. You're passionate for wrestling, of course, took you over to UFC. And here we are today talking about some UFC events, man. So, Josh, how about we get started, man? UFC 302. In Newark, New Jersey here. I should have gone to that event, man. It's kind of close here. It's about 4.5 hours. Closer to you, actually, than me. But, Josh, let's talk about this. Do you want to start? What match do you want to start with first? Because there's one match, Josh, that I really want to talk about. It's not on the screen here. But Roman Kovalev. How do you feel about this kid? This kid, I love watching. He's young. He hasn't put it all together yet, Josh. But I think he is going to be a name to reckon with pretty damn quick.
I'm with you. It definitely is a name to look out for Very, very solid all around. My biggest thing, as far as like, because you asked me in general about the card itself, we got to keep it 100. It was a bit of a lackluster card, especially the main card. Main card wasn't the greatest.
Sure.
I thought that once again, I think Roman was a very, very talented fighter who's going to continue to climb up the ranks. And I think possibly would have been smarter to give him not necessarily the main event for the prelims, but definitely like a co-main, just to get that name up there, slide it up a little higher. Yeah. But yeah, man, solid performance all around. I thought he looked good.
I agree. I think he's going to be something to reckon with pretty soon coming up there, But Josh, there was one more fight that I really want to talk about. Aline Perez versus Jocelyn Edwards here. All the beef, Josh, all the beef going into this fight. I hate this person. I can't stand this person. I don't even want to be in the same room. I can't do a press conference with this girl. But it was a great fight. Alina, dominated the fight. Of course, she took it to the ground where she dominates the fight. But Josh, the one thing I want to say about this fight, man, I give respect to both fighters because they praised God at the very end of this fight together. All the beef fighting there, they prayed together at the end. It showed me a lot of respect between these two fighters, Josh.
Yeah, and for people who may not know about the beef between them two, like a few cards ago, they were not even supposed to fight each other. Apparently got into a tussle at the PI building. And I've heard some rumors that Edwards got choked out, possibly. I've heard that, there was some black eye, people was getting punched. There was a lot of mess that was going on. So this fight was, it was one of I think the second fight on the card, but it was a fight that a lot of people was interested in just because of the beef beforehand. And these are talented ladies. I will say it was a lackluster fight as far as like the visuals go, but yet and still, you got to give credit where credit was due. You use your top game, you win. I'm not mad at it. You want to even give it a little baby twerk and then praise Jesus, which is kind of weird at the same time. Hey, whatever floats your boat, I'm down for it. But I was shocked after the fight that they were cordial. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how I was raised. You got a problem with somebody, you squabble it out. Whoever wins, wins. Call it a day and keep it pushing. You live to see another day. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Growing up, I mean, my mom used to smack me right in the face or grab whatever she could if I, got into a problem with somebody. You shake hands, you call it a day, you live another day, you move on. But it showed me a lot of respect because, just like you said, Josh, praise the twerk there basically at the very end. Do what you got to do. Praise the way you want to do it, but kudos to them. I mean, it was kind of a boring fight, but hey, sometimes boring fights, go to the stronger suited person with the ground game, and that's what Alina did. So, kudos to her, Josh. Is there any fight that you thought about on the pre-cards that you want to talk about first, Josh?
We gotta talk about Almeida. I mean, at the end of the day, man, he absolutely bulldozed. Granted, it was supposed to happen this way, but yet and still, he looked phenomenal doing it. I mean, it's a good rebound after his last fight. Yes. I thought that, I thought it was smart also put him in the prelims. One, to humble him a little bit. Who knows if he was like feeling himself a little bit too much in the last fight versus Curtis. I don't know. But I'm just simply saying it was really good to see him in the prelims, see him dominate and get back into the winning fashion. But yet and still, we still have questions that we need to learn about him because his last loss was not a good loss. Especially losing that way, just a critical error, mental error. We need to see him get put in that situation, but we know he's not far from the top. And the heavyweight division is an absolute disgusting mess. So he's always there. And once John Jones retires off and whatever, we're going to need a bunch of new dogs. He's definitely the dog I'm looking forward to the most.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think it was a great, situation for him. Hell, it only took 2 minutes and some odd seconds to get a rear naked choke here. Way to step back, coming off that loss that he had prior to this one. I think he's going to be one of those guys that, just like you said, once the big dog is out of here for good, 100%, this guy can step in here and hopefully he can be like the namesake of that division. Because I love how you say we need some big dogs and new dogs in this division because the heavyweight is, to me, I don't want to say boring to me, but we need some new dogs in there, honestly, Josh.
It's weak. I mean, it's simple and plain. It's weak. Stipe's 41, 42. John Jones is literally thinking about going away, this, that, and the third. Like, we need new dogs, simple and plain. And also, John is not even trying to fight the top dogs. He's just trying to fight Stipe, who hasn't fought since the pandemic. Like, exactly. I don't know what we're doing here. So we need new dogs. And I'm excited for it. I mean, realistically, we have some youngish guys that are literally. I mean, Aspinall is youngish. We still have, like just talked about Almeida. We also still have Cyril Gahn, Like Curtis Blades is still a tough competitor, as we
Right.
saw. Like, there's a lot of dogs in here that, like, can make this an interesting division. But as of right now, it's boring. We need to get some of these guys out of here.
Yeah, I agree with you. How do you feel about Volkanovski in this division, honestly? In the heavyweight division?
That's actually a good question, too, because I didn't even bring him up. The thing is, he seems to be getting better. Like, his stand-up has been really solid. Like, granted, he'll always struggle against a person like Cyril Gane, who's just a stylistic matchup nightmare for him. And I don't think anybody in the UFC can stand with Cyril Gane. So, that kind of outside of him, like, he's very favorable in the stand department towards pretty much anybody. Maybe Tom Aspinall will give him, well, not maybe. Tom Aspinall will give him some problem. He has power, he's quicker, he has really good footwork. He will give him problems, but he can still beat the elite of the elite when it comes to heavyweight.
I agree. Yeah, I 100% exactly what you said. 100% truth there. We need some new dogs in there. The top of the division, John Jones, we don't know what he does, when he wants to fight, who he's going to fight, if he ever fights again. We don't know. Just like you said, Steve is 41 years old. I mean, come on. We need some new dogs in here, young bloods coming in this division. But I don't know, man. I think it's one of the most boring divisions for me, honestly. Well, I want to say weakest division to me. You know what I mean?
Weakest. Boring. It's funny. I probably, 135 is the most boring division.
Okay.
Not men's, but women's.
Yes, I have to agree with you there too.
If you want to call it a division, that division is absolutely awful. But as far as men's go, it's 100%. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that one. Any other fight you want to talk about?
In the prelims?
Yeah, in the prelims there. Before we get to the 302 main.
No, not with this card. I'm okay.
I agree with you. We can skip those 7 fights basically and go right to the main card. Let's talk about the first fight here. Randy Brown versus Elios dos Santos. How did you feel about that? Unanimous decision, Randy Brown's part. How did you feel about that?
Randy looked confident. He looked very good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a guy who is coming into his own, a very tall, lanky striker who has pretty decent enough grappling to give you some kind of fits. But yet and still, man, like he's on a 3-fight win streak. The last guy he did lose to was Jack Della Mandela, who we don't even know could be the best 170-pounder in the world right now. We don't know. But yet still we know that he's definitely a top 5, top 10 caliber fighter. He's been on a tear lately, He's been looking very good, very good. And we all know 170 is one of the toughest divisions in the UFC. So yet and still, I thought he looked excellent. He continued to grow. It's going to be problems because once again, that range, that length is going to cause issues, and he's just a tough fighter.
Agree. Eileen checks in and says, hello, guys. How you doing, Eileen? Appreciate you checking in for us. Definitely. Now, let me ask you about Randy Brown. I agree with everything you said there. The one thing, does he need to work on his ground game? 0 takedown chances in 3 rounds. I mean, is that something that he's just not willing to do? Or what do you think that is, Josh?
I mean, if it's not your game, it's not your game. Or if it's not broken, don't fix it. I mean, we're talking about Dos Santos, who is Brazilian and who is a dad. I personally don't trust messing with Brazilians on the ground. Like realistically, it's not the easiest form. Like these guys can submit you in different scenarios. And if the stand-up is working so well, why go against it? Why go against the grain? And I mean, I'm not about to prove that I'm a well-rounded fighter every single fight. Sometimes I'm just going to prove that I have better hands than you. Sometimes I'm going to prove that I'm just a more well-rounded kickboxer than you. It just depends on the game plan and the strategy. And Dos Santos had a weakness in the stand-up where he just was not as good as Randy. So Randy took advantage of it.
I love how you said that, Josh, because of the fact that a lot of people look at Khabib's game. Oh, man, he's just a grappler. He takes you to the ground and controls the fight. Smart fighters win fights. Am I correct?
Yeah, and the thing is, granted, it's to be one-dimensional, sure, in a way. But we also got to remember he fought Alaquinta,
yes.
And he literally he couldn't even get the takedowns. I think 3, 4, 5th round, and he had to just outstrike him. And people said that was a bad performance. I'm like, so he couldn't take him down, which is the thing that everybody said. If you don't take him down, if he can't take you down, you can beat him, and he still wins. That's a bad performance.
Sure. Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Don't change anything. It's not broken. So kudos to Randy Brown there. How does this make him move up, in your opinion, Josh?
I mean, it definitely helps him move up. I mean, top 15 fighter, and he's got to continue to climb the ranks. Yet and still, he got finished by Jack, so that's still a little bad. But once again, that was, 3-4 fights ago? He's still climbing up the ranks, so he needs another top 15 opponent. Maybe I don't know. Maybe even get a Jeff Neal. That'd be fun.
Ooh,
You
that'd be
guys
pretty
that like to
nice.
stand up and bang. Let's do it.
Let's do that. That would be that's a fight that I like to see. Two guys in the same category, same philosophy of fighting there. You know what? Hey, close the octagon. Get inside the octagon like we are, and just go for it. Hands up. Let's go. I
Yeah.
like that one. I like that one. But did you agree with the decision? Of course, it was a unanimous decision. I agree with that 100%. Which I want to talk about a little bit later about some referees, maybe. But yeah, this was definitely a unanimous decision to me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, let's move on to the next one. Nico Price versus Alan Moreno here. Unanimous decision. Nico Price gets the win, of course. How'd you feel about that one?
I'm being 100% honest with you. I was not interested in this fight. I didn't care about this fight, and this fight, when I watched it, made me not care. Like I am a diehard fight fan. I love fights, and I actually expected this fight to be fight of the night because I thought these guys. I've seen Moreno fight. He's a fun fighter. Actually, he's been in a ton of slug fights. Slugfest. Nico Price is a dog. He also is in a lot of slugfest. I expect these guys to meet in the square, and I thought they were just going to throw hands. And that's not really what we got. It was a lot of misses, a lot of just ugly technique. It was just like a bar fight of two guys who don't know what they're doing. This is not UFC caliber fights. Let's just be honest. This is a first fight of the night kind of fight at Bellator. Like it was it just was not my cup of tea, and I really wasn't super fun. I didn't have a good time watching it. I didn't even care to break it down just because it's like you guys are UFC caliber fighters. You're in the main card. All right, 302. All right, this is a big fight. It's in New Jersey. This isn't like I live in Indianapolis right now. It's not like this is a Indianapolis card where you can just put in whoever you want in the main card, and everybody's gonna be like, I mean, I guess. No, this is a main event, New Jersey. We're so close to New York. This is supposed to be a mega card for real. But in reality, you put a Nico Price and a Moreno in there, and you get that. Wasn't good enough in my opinion.
Josh, I'm glad you said it first because this one, I mean, of course, we're both fans. We're gonna watch it regardless. But this was to me like, you know what? Okay, there was a back out on a fight. Someone didn't make weight. Someone got sick. This to me, this was a fill-in fight. This should be on the prelims for me. The early prelims or something like that. Because you said, this could have been fight of the night. Two guys that like to throw hands. Josh, I'm looking at the stat count here. I wrote down a little bit earlier. Nico had 259 strikes, landed on 138. Moreno had 225, landed on 111. To me, this was a lot of missed opportunity. Two guys that I didn't know what they were doing, honestly. I mean, this was really, I don't want to say boring, but I am going to say boring. This fight was just ridiculous. It really was.
You don't want to say it, I say it. Boring.
We'll both say it was damn boring. It sure was. It was not main card worthy. Just like you said, New York 302, this was a fill-in fight for me because I don't know what Dana thought about with this one. There could have been some other fights in there that could have took over this one.
The thing is, I actually know what Dana was thinking. Realistically, Nico Price and Moreno should have been the first fight of the main card, but they had to deliver. These guys are fun fighters. Like I 100% get the thought process. They didn't deliver. I'm not even getting mad at the UFC for it per se, because at the end of the day, it should be of the first fight of a main card just because it's supposed to be fun. Get the crowd involved, but it put the crowd to sleep. They weren't interested. No, neither were we. It's a forgettable fight. I think they both admit it was a forgettable fight.
It sure was. I mean, everybody needs a good hype man. That's what the UFC needed in its first fight with this one here, who they thought it would have been. To me, this let me down, honestly. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they can rebound next fight, throw hands like they usually do. But this was flat out, just like we both said, boring fight all around. It really was. All right, let's talk about the next fight. Kevin Holland, another fast one, 1 minute and 34 seconds over. I'm not even going to try his name, Olazukak, at 1 minute and 34 seconds of the first round. Josh, what do you think about this?
Not too much to say about it, realistically. But here's the thing, though. It was a fun fight. It was very exciting for the 2 minutes it lasted.
It sure was.
Holland getting clipped. Here's the thing. Kevin Holland is kind of like a Cerrone where he's a bit of a slow starter. He got clipped bad. Like, I thought it was a slip at first. Then I saw the replay. I was like, oh, no.
He got him. He tagged him. He got him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he was off balance for sure, but he 100% was still hurt. But for him to recover so quick and then to get that armbar, I will also say I say I'm a fight. I've fought, I mean, I've trained in MMA. I fought with professional fighters. I like to think that I'm a tough guy, but I have to be frank with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you because I look. You just met me. I don't want to lie. I did not watch after he got that armbar. I turned my head and I went on my phone. I didn't watch it. I don't find that kind of stuff. I'm cool with blood. I'm even cool with some cuts. I can't do armbar submissions. It grosses me out every single time. I can't see your arm bend this way when it's not supposed to. It creeps me out.
You know, John, I'm glad you said that because to me, it's not the arm bar for me. It is anything with the leg movement, any kind of submission with the legs, you know, even like the ankle lock. Because 12 years ago, I had my tibia and my fibia taken out of my leg. So I have a rod and I can't see anything like that. Just like you said, with that arm twisting a certain way, like I get grossed out if I turn my finger like this a little bit, you know, certain ways. Bones aren't meant to bend certain ways, Josh.
Yeah.
But a minute and 34 seconds.
I was so mad. I was like, brother, just tap out. What are we doing? like why you're stuck? You got messed up. You did something dumb. Just tap out, bro. Live to fight another day. Because realistically, it cannot heal. Like some of these guys are so stubborn. They're like, I'm not gonna tap, break it. Cool. Then you probably will be dealing with that for the rest of your life. I remember Forrest Griffin. It's Forrest Griffin.
Yes.
You know who he is. I remember him on UFC. It was on Tough, first season of Tough. He had a click in his arm. He was talking about how his arm is still not healed because he broke his arm and then continued to fight with that broken arm. And it's like, brother, you're doing permanent damage by letting another man break your arm. Tap out. It's okay. You're here to make money. All right. UFC, we already talked about UFC not paying people like that. You need to make as much money as you can. You breaking your arm all willy-nilly, it's not smart. It's not smart.
I agree, 100%, 100%.
That's for any fighter, by the way. Any fighter. If it's in, tap out. Just, brother, they're going to break it. Unless you're some double-jointed weirdo, like, brother, tap out.
I agree with you, Josh. The funny thing is, just like you said there, tap out. You look at people that for the first time, they're maybe tuning into a show or tuning into a live event and watching this happen. They're thinking like, okay, he's got his arm bent, but they're UFC fighters, they're professionals. He should fight through this. To me, I'm saying like, hell no, tap out, just like you said, because life goes on. Life, you live another day. Just like you said with Griffin there, hearing that click in his arm. Brother, you know what? I take the L over a lifetime injury in my arm any day of the week.
100%. Like, it's a whole nother thing of being choked out. I understand the people who say I'm gonna get choked out because at the end of the day, you wake back up. It's okay. Like I've been choked out before. It really is like going to sleep. You wake up and it's like, oh, what happened? Like that's not a life permanent, life altering decision. Like you will be fine unless the referee is like Hiroyo Yamasaki and he lets you choke him for like 3 minutes straight and almost kill you. Now that's a problem. But as long as they let go immediately, you'll wake back up. You feel, honestly, you might feel a little better depending on like what kind of stress you've been having in your life. So,
100%. Yeah, take it as a little therapy. Take a little therapy there. Take a little nap real quick. Get up back up. Live another day. Be blessed. There you go. You know.
Yeah. But just don't get your arm broke. Don't the leg locks. One thing my jiu-jitsu coach taught me, like a decade ago, which was he was like the arm is more forgiving than the leg. He was saying that like you can have your arm pop more like once and it's not broken. You're fine. So I think that's kind of how these guys go. They were saying like as far as the leg goes, if it pops, you're done. There's no 1, 2, 3 strike, you're out. You're literally out if it pops. Your arm, you got a couple. So I think that's kind of what he was thinking. But I'm not doing that. Once my arm extended.
Exactly, right. Or you go to the ref and just tell him before the fight, like, listen, if you see my arm bent, just tap me out anyway. Go ahead and do what you got to do.
Straight like this, and he twisted in. You see me grimacing. That's a tap.
Yes. And I like how you said that. Going back to remember the Grasso Shevchenko fight where she turned white on that chokehold. There's got to be a point where, like, okay, your life is flashing in front of your face right then and there. Oh, yeah. When a woman just turns pale white, like worse than Casper the Ghost here. Honestly, like that. Oh my goodness, like I was gasping.
Saw it in her face though, like even when she was getting choked, you saw that Valentina had full breath left. She was like, okay.
Yeah, I remember watching that fight. I'm thinking like, oh Lord, I can't breathe.
It's just like that.
Me either. She surprised me on that one. I'll tell you that. Oh man.
Here's the thing: people don't also realize unless you roll people. Everybody don't have that kind of grip. Everybody don't have that kind of grip strength where they can choke you. Because I don't even think at that point, because I have to remember. If I remember correctly, she didn't even have the arm under the neck. She had the arm on the chin, and she still couldn't breathe. That's
yeah, because I remember watching that, Josh. I was thinking like, oh, she's a little too high. She's a little too high on that. She can't get it there. And then I'm thinking like, oh, that's in pretty tight. Like, oh, is it really? Oh yeah, she turned white. It's definitely in. It's definitely in.
Yup.
Yeah. Batcave check-in. You can check out the Batcave every Wednesday at 10 a.m. talking New York Mets. That's Ken Fry hopping in. He has another comment. He says, tap out and fight in 8 months. Don't tap in 18 months. Should be easy decision. 100%, Josh. Live another day. Get your money. Recoup. Hey, at least you have your arm in place, right?
Realistically, you tap out, you could fight in 2 weeks. Like, what's
true?
Like, it's not a big deal. But like you said, you break your arm, snap your arm, something like that. Conor McGregor broke his leg.
Oh, don't talk about that, Josh. Oh, ankles aren't supposed to go like this, Josh.
No. That's Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman. I know.
Ooh, yes. Oh, goodness gracious. Man, I'm gonna have a nightmare on that one, Josh. You just brought back a bad memory on me.
I feel you.
Oh man. Well, hey, let's talk about this co-main event here. Let's talk about this one, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa. First, I don't want to talk about this first. I do want to talk about the judges for a little bit after this, Josh, but a lot of people don't like Strickland's fighting style. I tell you what, Josh, I'm a fan of this fighting style. I love this fighting style, Josh. What do you say?
I'm not with you. I don't.
Our first debate.
I do not like his style at all, personally. It's not fitting to me. It's very he's very good at what he does. I will always give respect to that. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first saw Strickland, I thought he was a bad fighter. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought he was trash. I thought that he would get exposed when he fought the elite. He's proven me wrong time in and time out that he is a very good fighter. But his style is why I thought he was a bad fighter. What he does is so unorthodox and so weird and so different that fighters can't adjust to it. And that they don't know what to necessarily do, because it's easy to say, hit him. He's not a hittable guy. Alex Pereira was the guy to be able to do that. Usman was another guy who was able to do it. But in this stage in his career, you have to be a very pinpoint accurate fighter to be able to land. Izzy wasn't even able to land anything significant. And and the reason why, and I'll explain why, is because, and this is why I don't like him, is because he fights with his head up, which is an easy target to get your block knocked off for anybody. But he leans back so far that it puts people out of range to be able to fight. So when you attack, all he got to do is reach back, and he has his hands right by his face. So he just basically pity pats this entire time, and he's able to parry all the punches and the kicks that's being thrown his way. I don't like it is because it's very inactive oriented. If you know inactive oriented, it causes a lot of action not to happen because he charges forward with his teep, with fake teep, and then his marching stance that he does, but then he throws nothing because the person is quote unquote backing up. But he's a professional fighter. He knows how to cut off a cage. He doesn't. He just follows, kicks, punch. I'm throwing a 1-2. More 1-2s, and then when somebody wants to attack, he does his little far back thing, but he's out of range, so he can't even counter for real. So it's a very boring style, in my opinion.
Okay, I get what you're saying about the boring, but he knows how to make you adapt in many ways, like you said. The slip back style, the aggressive forwardness, the hands up, the pity pat fighting. The reach is what's going to get him. But I want to talk about Acosta here. That first round. I know his leg was damaged. Costa's leg was damaged. Those leg kicks from Strickland basically tore that leg up. But why didn't Costa? Okay, he knows he's not going to tag him. You don't have the length to do it. You have the power, but you don't have that length to get to find Strickland's head. Why didn't Acosta adapt to that and go more to the legs? What do you think about that first?
Personally, I thought the legs were fine because I thought he hurt himself because he kept. Eventually, Strickland was checking him. So the first round, I thought he was doing very well with the leg kicks, but Strickland adjusted. He started checking them. You could see, I don't know if it was the second or the third round, Costa kept throwing heavy leg kicks. It kept getting checked. And he was really hurt. His leg was badly hurt, and he was limping the entire round.
Yes.
My opinion is, why are you throwing so many kicks? Yes, you have short arms, but my thing is Strickland is doing everything that you want him to do.
Yeah,
He
you
is
played into his fight. You played into his fight.
forward. He is moving forward. You have short arms. You're built like a T-Rex. Why are we sitting here backing up? Why are we trying to fight outside? You're fighting his game. He has longer legs, longer arms. Brother, you're not going to win that battle. You're not a boxer. So what are we trying to do? You're not even a great kickboxer for real when it comes to like a technical standpoint of outpointing somebody. That's not your style. That's not why we even like you. Like, Paulo, we want to see the knockouts. Why do we like you? You move forward. You march people down. You threw bombs. That is what we saw. That's what we wanted. You didn't do it. So only person we can blame for is yourself. Why was this fight boring? It's 60, 70% your fault. You kept backing up. You didn't fight the way you normally fought. And I don't really know what to say to Costa. Like, yeah. Did Izzy really hurt you that bad? That you're no longer the guy that moved forward, the guy that's scared to engage? Because you look terrified to engage. And when I say that, I'm not saying that disrespectfully to say that he's terrified of Strickland, but it's like, are you terrified of engaging, him enduring, and you getting tired? Are you worried about your cardio? Is that what the issue is? I don't know, but I was so disappointed in Paulo Costa.
I agree with everything you said there, 100% with the cardio there. The only person to blame is Paulo Acosta here for this fight. Number one, he didn't attack. He didn't become the aggressor. You played into Strickland's hands. Being forced to backpedal, circle around the ring. But the one thing, you mentioned that about Strickland, he doesn't know how to cut off the ring. DC said that 5 or 6 times during that fight. Take a side step to the right, cut off the ring here, cut off the ring. You have every opportunity to do it. This fight could be over in a second. Do you think Costa was just going that far into it, running 3 miles versus Strickland's 1 mile forward? Do you think that played into it too? The cardio?
No. Yeah, cardio 100% played into it. He was getting a little tired, but because at the end of the day, like I'm not a professional fighter. I just have trained a lot. I know there's a big difference between going forward and going backwards. Going backwards, especially when that's not really your style. It's one thing if you're like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who is okay with going backwards because he's training to go backwards. And matter of fact, he fires off attacks going backwards. Whole other aspect from a guy who is known, who always goes forward. Going backwards for 15, 20 minutes, your body's not your body's not used to going in those motions. You're exerting more energy going backwards than you are going forward. So yet and still, yes, that's another reason why your cardio is bad. So if you're gonna get tired, might as well go tired doing what you normally do. Going forward, engaging, giving Sean Strickland what he wanted, which is to engage. That I'm just mind blown. No joke. I'm a little hurt because I put money onto Costa and he poo-pooed the bed. So that's why I'm a little emotional, guys. But yet and still, Costa, I don't know what you was expecting in this fight. I don't know why you were expecting to win this fight.
I agree. I thought we were going to see like a Gaethje Holloway last 5 seconds of the fight, go down, throw the hands down, because that's what you need to do. You're more powerful, you're more aggressive, but I just like you said, I don't know if you're scared to initiate the contact here after the last fights you had. I don't know, because it wasn't there. But what I want to ask you honestly, from a fighter standpoint and a fan, number one, does Strickland's fighting style make you adapt to a different way? Because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get these little hand control movements up top. You're not going to be able to get the head, pity pat, little arm movements, constant forward movement. Do you think that plays into people's minds even before you get into a fight, knowing at camp what Strickland's about?
No, I don't think it plays into people's mind. I think you go in, because I'm telling you how I view it as a fight, as a fan. I think people can just knock him out or adjust to what his style is and still beat him. I think people come in with that same style of like, what he does works with other people, but it's not going to work versus me. And then they get in there with them and they realize, oh, this is a lot tougher than I thought. This is a lot more difficult than I thought. This is going to take some adjusting. And then it's too late. I think that's how that goes, because nobody, you really can't get used to a person that fights as weird as he does.
Unorthodox, yeah.
Yeah, it's so unorthodox. It's such a different style. He's pretty much in a Philly shell, but he's squared. And you would think that that's acceptable to kicks, but nobody's head kicked him. So it's like one of those, he's very protected. He doesn't get hit too hard. I I've been so out on Strickland for a while now because he has this fake I'm a serial killer personality, but then he has 0 finishes in his last 8 fights. So it's like it's been blowing. It really irks me with this whole like mindset that he has. But you have to respect the style. You have to respect the winning. Like I don't personally like it. I respect his game because at the end of the day, it wins fights. It's the same way every single time. It's almost a split decision almost every time. But he is good. What can I say?
Do you think if Costa would have took this to the ground? I mean, no takedowns on both parts, 0 throughout the match, no takedown attempts at all, 0-0, both sides. Do you think Costa should have, Josh, we watch a lot of fights, and we talk about the judges in a second, especially during this fight here, but we see a lot of matches come down to ground control. Who gets that ground control? Do you think Costa maybe said, you know what, I can't reach this guy. I can't find the body. I can't find the head. I can't get a power shot. Maybe I should just, I'm the bigger guy here. I'm the same weight, but I look like I'm bigger. I'm more of a Goliath. Maybe I should just take my chance and take him to the ground. Maybe I can secure 1 round because split decision, 1 round goes a long way, Josh.
Yeah, but 2 things. 1, he's not taking Strickland down.
No.
Like Strickland has a very good takedown defense, and you have to have really good takedowns to take Strickland down and keep him down. 2, Paulo's not a good wrestler. Like he's not.
True.
So I mean, and then 3, he doesn't have good cardio. So once he fails on those takedowns, he will get tired and he'll probably get finished. So it sounds good on paper. Trust me, it
True.
does. But Paulo couldn't do that because it wasn't going to work. Like I would not. I talk a lot of trash about Strickland, but his takedown defense is very good. You're not taking this man down without really struggling for it, and you're not keeping him down without struggling for it. Paulo's not really. He's not that skillful as a wrestler to be able to take it down consistently, even for 1 round. And yeah, he would have got punished if he did.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cardio is 100%. I mean, his takedown would be not efficient, but when all else fails, man, I would try at least to do something. I mean, you can't reach him. He did try. But
he wasn't close. He was
not even close. Not even close.
Sideswiped him every time.
He did. He was just like one of those matadors, like, no, go.
Yeah, one of those. Say, all right, you want to go that way? Go that way. Cool.
I mean, you look at the numbers of this fight, Josh. I mean, significant strikes, total strikes, 402 from Strickland. But just like you said, those are mostly pity pat smacks, basically, that way to and from there. Landed on 182. Costa only threw 266 strikes total, head and body, and legs count too. So I don't know. Where does this move Strickland, and where does this move Costa? What do you think?
First thing first, he also broke the record for most significant strikes in UFC history. 2 things on that. 1, I think we need to start changing the definition of significant strikes because
Thank you.
If we're gonna call that significant strikes and he has like 0 finishes, how significant is it? That's all I'm gonna say with that. And then 2, I don't really personally, if I was a fighter, I wouldn't even want to have that record. That means people can take my punches that many times to survive. I think the person record he broke was Angela Hill. And I love Angela Hill. She's from the same city. She's from the same county I'm from. I love her to death, but she's the definition of pillow fist. So like, I it's nothing to really be proud about, but it is what it is. Strickland, he already called his shot. He said what it is. He is going to wait for Dricus and Izzy and who gets the winner. I'm okay with that. I think that the fight with DDP was close enough for people to be interested. And if Izzy wins, he did beat Izzy. So title shot should 100% be next. Paulo Costa, go to the drawing board. I don't have a name for him. I don't know. Like, Paulo, what do you want to do? Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight at 205? Do you want to stay at 185? I don't know. I really don't know. Like, maybe give him a tune-up. Maybe give him somebody that's not ranked. And then, like, let's see if he still got that dog in him. Let's see if he can get a knockout. Because, I mean, I'm not interested if I'm not getting these KOs from him personally.
Agree, 100%. I agree with Costa 100%. I think you give him a tune-up fight to, especially if I'm the corner, I'm telling him, like, listen, this is what we need to work on because what I told you to do, I seen nothing of the attempt of what we worked on in camp, going there. What's that?
No, I was going to bring with you. Nothing.
Exactly, 100%. I think, how do you think Strickland matches up with Izzy and Duplessis? Which one do you think he benefits fighting better?
Strickland?
Yeah.
Easily DDP. He should fight DDP next. He should want that fight. 1, he lost, and he thought he won. And then 2, he doesn't have too much to gain beating Izzy again. I'm
True.
sure people can sit here and say, well, it wasn't a fluke, but yet and still, it's so risky fighting Izzy twice. He's such a student of the game. He learns from what he did. And we've seen what happens when people knock him out or beat him. He comes back with fire. So I wouldn't want that fight as much as I would want the DDP fight.
Yeah, I think it's the latter effect. You got to go to the next guy here. You don't want to prove was it a fluke, was it not? I beat him. Hey, it's a W in my win column. I'm going on to what I want here. The DTP is best for him too. When do you think that'll happen, or do you think that will happen next?
Oh, it's definitely going to happen next. I mean, who are you going to give it to? Robert Whitaker? You're going to get now.
Exactly.
Granted, you could give it to Chimaev. Chimaev could be next, depending on how well he looks in his next fight. That fight with Usman was a little lackluster. If it was a 5-round fight, you can argue that he probably would have lost that fight. But Chimaev has the name that everybody cares about. He is the it factor. He is right. He could be a Caitlin Clark for the MMA as long as he looks good in his next fight. If he gets a KO finish, there's 100% chance they're going to say, Strickland, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. We're going to give Chimaev the title fight, and hopefully he wins, because Chimaev literally can have an army. Like, it could be Chimaev army if he wins, especially in exciting fashion, because there's still a lot of hype around him. He hasn't lost. He beat Gilbert Burns, and he beat Kamaru Usman. There's so much hype that's still there.
Agree, 100% about that fight. Let's talk about this main event here, Josh. Man, what we came here for. Let's talk about Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. Where do you want to start with this fight? Where do you want to start?
You didn't want to talk about the judges?
Oh, you know what? Thank you for bringing it up. It slipped my mind. How could I slip my mind? Let's talk about this one judge in particular, David Torella. Josh, how can you see a fight 46-49, 50-45, and 49-46? What was this guy seeing Costa's side giving him the fight? And this wasn't the first fight, Josh, of the night for him. The second fight. But this one here, I really want to talk about. How do you see it that way, Josh? A 4-point swing, opposite direction.
Let me first start off by saying I don't agree with it, okay? So I don't want people saying, I don't agree with it. I don't. All right? Strickland won the fight, I think, pretty easily. But when you fight like Strickland, this happens. It is his fault. People want to get mad and say it's Paulo. It's the same. Okay, listen, you can say this all you want. If you can keep going to every single team, and every team you have issues, you have problems, it ain't the team, it's you. If you keep having bad decisions or close fights, it's because of you. It's your fighting style. And Strickland knows that. Hey, I remember him even saying he went to judges before and asked them, what do they need to see? No, that's Curtis. That's Curtis. I lied. That was not Strickland that said that. But yet and still, Strickland knows what it takes and what he needs to do to win fights. But he doesn't change his style up. He still fights this way. He doesn't cause enough damage to determine rounds. At the end of the day, this is a fight. A fight is about damage. And if you're not causing a lot of damage, guess what? The fight's close. So if the fight's close, sometimes they might say, well, he did lay in them heavy leg kicks. All right, let's give it to Costa. Oh, well, you kind of put him against the cage for like 2 minutes. Let's give it to Costa. Like, stuff like that matters. So I'm not sitting here saying that I agree with the decision. The decision was stupid. It should have been a unanimous. But yet and still, you can't keep complaining when you make these fights so close. Cut the cage off. You learn in boxing day one. Cut it off. I'm going left, you go left. Like, simple.
Agree 100%. I just wanted your take on that because I'm in the same boat as you. To me, we know your style. To me, maybe this is an advantage for the fighters for the next fight to say, oh, you know what? Wow, we've seen a unanimous decision on one part of Strickland here. Go 2-1, basically. Still for you, but you can't let the judges initiate the overall effect of the fight itself. You have to go out, handle business, be more dominant, fight, throw the hands, get it out there, get the unanimous win, either, TKO, sub, whatever you want to call it out there, get it done. Because right now, Josh, I've seen so many fights, God, in the last, 3 or 4 years, honestly, that you think like, wow, it could have been a dominant effect on one point, one fighter's outcome, but the judges find a way and they give it to a 2-1 split decision. But what I want to ask you, do you think, Josh, regarding the judges, is it time that they need to be held accountable for what they're calling during these fights? And how can they be accountable?
Of course. I mean, at the end of the day, man, like if you're bad at your job, you get fired. I mean, that's
True.
not the typical. Now, that's not to say here say you need to get fired off of one bad decision, but yet and still, you should be in the. You should have strikes, and I would say yearly, because I don't want to sit here and say you should have strikes your whole career. Some of these guys are judges for 30 years. It'd be kind of weird to say give them a strike system then. But yeah, man, if you're like consistently making bad decisions, we have to take your card. Got to take your credits. Like it doesn't make sense. But yet and still, it's so subjective sometimes when it comes to that, because you can sit here and say we hear there are bad decisions all the time. This will only have to be for the egregious ones. It's just like when they said Canelo Alvarez had a draw versus Floyd Mayweather. That was the worst. That was one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen in my life. Like I've never seen a scorecard so, but you could not find 2 rounds for Canelo, let alone 6. Like it's those kind of cards where it's like, yeah, you need to be held accountable to possibly, be suspended, or you need to go through a program to understand the criterias of fighting. But I came up with an idea as far as judging goes, like years ago. Like I personally think judges should not be ringside. I think judges personally should be in a booth. I should think they should be a separate booth. They shouldn't be talking. Should have no access to phones, no commentary. It could be soundproof. I don't even care them to hear the audience. I think that they should have a monitor in their face, all angles or whatever, and they should be analyzing the fights the entire time. You can have cameras in there to make sure there's no corruptions, but yet and still, I want them to be able to focus just on the fight. I don't want them to focus on the crowd because the crowd lies. I don't want them to focus on the commentary because the commentary lies or they're misinformed. And also the camera can show you things that you can't see ringside. So I personally think that should be the way that referees judge fights. I think that we'll get a lot more unbiased, ridiculous cards that way. And then we can realize if these guys are just incompetent, or it could just be from their visuals or from what they're hearing from the fans.
Josh, I love how you said that because I've gotten into arguments with a lot of people, football is a different thing. I coach PIAA and I've rep PIAA, and the one thing that you said there, and I love how you said it, crowd noise, because the crowds can lie to you. They can definitely lie to you. When you hear that, ooh, even watching it on TV, you hear that, ooh, ooh. I look back at it like, man, he didn't even connect on that. You hear a woo, you know what I mean? That goes a long way too. I love how you said that. Put him in a box, put a headset on of just what the video is recording. Watch it there. No crowd noise, no commentary, because that does play in a lot of ways too, because there's arguably no other way that you could say you screwed up or you got it right, because it's clear factor right then and there. I love how you said that. I wish they would actually do that. I really do.
Yeah.
I really like that one. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about this. Islam. Oh my God. Let's talk about this. Pound for pound, yes, no. The best? Thank you. I agree. 100%.
I mean, I don't really see how you can deny it unless you lie like Dana White. So like I don't. It's pretty easy. Like 155 is, if you don't want to say it's the toughest division, it's the second toughest division in the UFC.
I agree.
This man is dominating, like absolutely dominating that division. If you dominate 155, you're pound for pound king. I don't care what anybody say. Great. 155, or you're dominating 135, 145. You're dominating these divisions. You're in the top 2 or 3. I'm not giving it to somebody who fought last year once, and it was Cyril Gahn, who has a major flaw. I'm not going to give you that. I'm sorry. Like, I respect John Jones. John Jones is the GOAT. Nobody could deny that. But he is not pound for pound one at the age of 35, 36, and hasn't fought once. And he wants to fight Stipe Miocic, who's 41 years old. And isn't he coming off of a KO loss? When has Stipe fought? When was the last time Stipe fought? Isn't it Francis? Or am I tripping?
I think it is Nagano. I think it was, wasn't it?
The last time we saw him, he almost tore his ACL because he got knocked out so bad. I don't want to see, like I said, Islam Makhachev is easily pound for pound number 1. And I don't see how it's debatable.
I agree with this one. I mean, it goes back to the Khabib, you can't beat him on the ground, but he has stand-up game too. To me, he's just arguably the best in the world right now. Do you think he can move up and go to the next upper division? And if he can, what do you feel about that, honestly?
Hell no. Stay at 155. Don't go to 170. No. No. No, don't go there. I advised against it. Listen, I like Islam. I do think he's pound for pound, but yet and still, we're talking about 15 more pounds. I mean, if you're, and I love Dustin. I interviewed Dustin. Dustin's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. He is such a humble guy, so respectful. I like the guy. If you're struggling taking him down, you're struggling taking Alex Volkanovski down. Yeah. You're not taking down Leon Edwards. And if you fight Leon Edwards and you can't take him down, that means it's a strike fest. And I'm telling you right now, I'm so impressed with Islam striking. He is a very good striker. Leon is going to beat it.
He got clipped. He got clipped a couple times too, and he's got a jaw on him too, where nothing really affects this kid. I mean, I love how he fights, his stand-up game, his ground game. When he gets you on the ground, it's just a different motor, man. I mean, how fast that DR's choke initiated. Josh, I seen him, just slip on the ground, grab the ankle, pull them down, and I looked at my phone real quick, just about to tweet something. Next thing I know, that quick.
It's so funny because when he took him down with what's called golf swing in wrestling, which is, a day one move, but it's a very effective move, as you can see, because they call it destiny. It was so, like, as soon as he got that Darce, I lie to you not in my head, I was like, oh, he's going to sleep. And the reason why is just because Islam, Habib, those guys are just so naturally just strong guys. Like, they're just strong. And when it comes to Darce, if you had that grip strength and that leverage, brother, you don't have long. Like you don't have too long, brother. So I was like, once his leg was trapped and he had that Darce tight, I saw that red, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to go to sleep. And it was funny that they didn't even notice, the commentary didn't even notice until after the fact that he went to sleep. I'm like, brother, his head hit the mat, his leg hit the mat, then he woke up. I was like, he was done. Like, it was tight. But it's because Islam was strong.
Yes, I was reading a lot of Twitter accounts, after the fight, watching it. It's like, was he asleep? I'm like, brother, what was he watching? Number one, he was gone. I mean, he was limp,
Yeah, I mean,
oh man,
like it's these Russians, and as a wrestler, we already know Russia is, it's us, it's America and Russia. Then you obviously got like Iran and Cuba, you got these others, but Russia is normally the people we worry about when it comes to wrestling. These guys aren't even the elite of the elite when it comes to wrestling in Russia. That just shows you how good wrestling really is in that country. Islam is special. He's one of the greatest lightweights we've ever seen. He's on a crazy run, and he might be the person to break the record for most title defenses at lightweight, which isn't a big number, by the way. It's like 3.
I guess when you wrestle bears in that sambo over Russia, you know what I mean? It goes a long way. I mean, it's, man, I tell you, like,
built different.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And he showed me a lot. I think he can run this division. I think he can go through a ladder 4 or 5 times straight through and bring in new competitors. I think he can still do that, Josh, honestly. If he stays in this division, Josh, who are you going to run it back with?
Sorry, was it Tzarkian? I forgot.
Oh yeah, Arman Tzarkian. Arman,
yes. The one who beat Charles Oliveira. I'm bad with names, by the way, guys. I know who these guys are, but like, I'm from the South, so we are us talking their language sometimes. Just,
I'm the same way.
But yeah, and still, I think he should run it back with him easily. Okay. I don't really think it's that debatable. It broke my heart that he beat Charles Oliveira. I thought it was a very close fight with that one. I kind of wanted to see that rematch play out, but we got to run it back with him and get a part 2. I mean, 155 is never lacking contenders. So yet and still, if he wants to go 170 just to dare to be big, cool. I respect. I think he's earned it, but I'm also okay with him fighting the challengers at 155.
What do you think about the name Gamrot? Matsui Gamrot. What do you think about him? A lot of people saying this might be a fight for Islam, even though he's ranked 6 or 7. Me either.
Gamrot's gonna get worked. I'm okay.
I agree with
We've
that.
already seen Gamrot. When Gamrot fights wrestlers, he normally gets tuned up. I'm okay. And I've seen enough of Islam striking to know that Islam will beat the brakes off him, and it won't be cute.
I agree. I mean, thinking the only other one is Arman Tzarkian. I'm just like you. We will call him AT tonight. I'm not even going to butcher his last name. I think that would be the best fight for him, because what else is the division that he can, run through the gauntlet again? I mean, to me, really, I don't even want to say gauntlet. It's not a gauntlet for him. He's already proven what he is. Do you think he's the type of person to say, you know what, I run this division, nobody can beat me until you bring in some new cats in here? I'm going to go ahead and move up to 170 here and take my chances. I'm not going to put my belt on the line. I'm still going to retain my belt. Maybe I do want to be a 2-belt champion.
I mean, that's what he's already been trying to do and trying
True.
to sell. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like, I mean, respect to him. 170 is a tough division. That's a big jump up in weight. And you know, as a wrestler, trying to wrestle people that are going to be now bigger than you, it's not an easy thing. You're struggling to take down 155ers. Yeah, some people might say he'll be bigger and stronger. Yeah, no, these guys are naturally bigger and stronger. So, like, to assume that his wrestling is just going to carry over against the elite of the elite at 170 is a big ask. But yet, still, I've seen enough of his striking to know that he can still hold his own. Fight Colby. I like that.
Oh, Covington? You want Covington?
No, I just don't like Colby, so I just want.
Okay.
I just want to see him get tuned up.
You ain't right, man. You ain't right. But you know, regarding like moving up there, what do you think the first fight in his category would be? I mean, he is a name draw, of course. You know, we look at that division of 170. You're not going to get Leon Edwards right away. You're not going to get that. Usman, you know, he's basically on his way out.
Hold on. He will get Leon. If he
You think so?
Nah, I know so. It's Islam.
Wow.
You got to think. Islam is Russian. He has Habib in his corner. He can get whatever he wants. If he wants Leon, he will get Leon. And Dana's not going to say no to it.
Really? I was thinking maybe like a Shazmat Ravanov, 18-0. You know, I was thinking him.
No, that would be worse. I'd rather fight Leon. No, that's worse. No, Islam don't want to fight him. Like
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
What? Well, I'm saying Islam will want to fight Leon. He doesn't want to fight. He wouldn't want to fight Rockball. You don't gain much from that. You lose everything. You will get embarrassed, and then you won't ever be able to fight at 170 again. And it's not even for the belt. It doesn't really help you out. You definitely want, if you're going to fight at 170, it needs to be for the title or stay at 155. What other reason would you really want to fight at 170? Just to say, oh, I fought there?
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. I think if you fight a lesser opponent, you know, ranking wise, you have all to lose, nothing to gain. I get that, but I just love that fight. If Razmat would fight him, I think that would be a grounding point to more of a humble statement, saying, "Boy, go back down. You don't belong right here, right now." Because that's what I feel right there. Leon Edwards, man, I tell you what, Leon Edwards would be one hell of a fight because those leg kicks, man, are insane. You know what I mean? Insane, Josh.
Yeah, they're tough. But hey, at the end of the day, it's a tough sport. You got to get through them.
I mean, he did take down Usman when nobody said he could take down Usman, right? I guess maybe he could take down Islam to the ground. I don't know. What do you think about that if it did happen?
I mean, I'm not trying to say, I don't like to say things are a fluke, but that takedown was a fluke. Like that was, I mean, yes, he took him down, all respect to him, but he wasn't expecting that. Like, he surprised him after he surprised. Look, put it like this: after he surprised him, he didn't get nowhere near close to a takedown ever again. So,
yeah, it was one of those things. It happened, but you know what? There was a little spit on the ground from the prior match, is what I'm going to say right now.
It's just like Gus taking down John Jones. It's like, it happened, but
yeah, it ain't going to happen again. It ain't going to happen again. It ain't going to happen again. So yeah, I agree 100%. You know, pound for pound fighter. I think, you know, Islam could be that guy to take the next step, be that 2-belt champion as he's tried before. He's already beaten Volkanovski, you know, a bigger, stronger opponent basically. So I don't know where he goes from here, but we have some other news too, Josh. I mean, something happened I don't want to say it happened. It didn't happen in Dublin. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Actually, it didn't happen. So the press conference for UFC 303 unfortunately was canceled, and we don't know why. Ariel Helwani came out basically saying that there was no big news. It just got canceled and pushed back. But us being who we are, and which is curious, we call BS. And I personally feel like that is that. It's never just a little something when it's dealing with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is a psychopath. He's a sociopath. He is a guy who brings all the eyes and attention to UFC, but he is a wild guy. Like wild guy. You know the Dave Chappelle phrase, you should have never gave these dudes money. That's basically Conor McGregor. You gave him money, now he's acting crazy. He's been partying every single week. He has a fight coming up in about 3 weeks. And to be realistically, his career is on the line, but yet and still he don't care. So why should we?
I love how you said that because, Chandler's busting his butt in the gym. I've seen, the screenshots of him in the gym. Next thing I look on the other side of that picture there, Conor McGregor is taking shots off of people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. Josh, I call BS too. What do you think it is, Josh? Because I don't know, Josh. I mean, is it a drug standpoint, piss test possible? I don't know. We're not ready to do all this yet. Or is it just, I got so much money, I could care less. I'm still going to get the $1 million draw. What do you think this is?
I think that he genuinely just didn't want to go, and he just said, "I'm not going," and forced his hand. He probably was. Maybe he could have been hungover. He could have just. He probably could have lied, and this is what I expect him to say is to basically be like he was training and he was too locked in and he didn't feel like doing it, or he had to push it because of this. It's going to be some type of BS excuse, but in reality, I think he's just been pardoned. He just don't care. I don't think he takes it serious anymore. He's going to try to do all this antics and all this crazy stuff. And the crazy thing is, he still might win. But yet and still, I don't trust him. And I don't believe that he even cares. Like, he just don't want to get embarrassed. I know he wants to win, He wants to win, but I don't think he really wants to win. Like, back then, when we really, really saw Conor, he needed to win. He was broke. Mm-hmm. He was poor. He was a guy who was hungry. He genuinely needed to do this. When you make $35-50 million in a fighting Floyd Mayweather, brother, who cares about fights? Like, why would you care? I don't care. I don't even have the money, and I wouldn't even care.
Yeah, I agree with
that. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff. But I'm telling you right now, I would not take fighting serious. I would retire personally, but
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. To me, it's just, I love how you said, Josh, when he fought before the Conor McGregor that we all loved and wanted to watch fight, he was hungry. He had to fight to put food on the table. Now, he's just fighting because I don't know what I really want to do. I really don't care. I make more than anybody in the UFC. I am definitely worth probably more than Dana White. I could care less, But, Josh, I think this could be an antic, honestly, because the name Conor McGregor sells no matter what. And I think this could be a way to get more viewers or something. Do you think Dana White had something to do with, because I read something on Twitter, Josh. I don't know how to believe this or feel about it. Someone said Dana White had his hand involved in this whole cancellation because more viewerships on a Conor no-show to come back during the next press conference will build the hype, PR, more sales, more revenue, and more publicity for this Chandler McGregor fight. How do you feel about that?
I don't believe that personally.
I don't either.
I don't think Dana would do that. I don't think that's kind of his style. Not to say he don't be lying and he ain't some fugazi. He definitely be in some weird stuff, but I don't think that's his type of marketing. I don't think that's his type of promotion. So I'll say no.
Agree with that 100%. I agree with that. I'm not going to buy into this fight yet, Josh, until the Octagon closes at 303. Honestly,
everybody's kind of that way. I mean, it's Conor. Like, Conor and John Jones are kind of in the same pot to me, where I don't necessarily believe any of these things until I literally see them weigh in. Once Conor weighs in, I know it's on and cracking. Once John Jones weighs in, okay, I lied. John Jones, no, I actually got to see him step foot because he might drug test and they got to cancel the whole event. But Conor, at least, if he weighs in, I know he's actually going to fight the next day. He's not that kind of guy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that interested because it's not really relevant to the lightweight division. It's not even
exactly.
It's at 170. Is Conor, if he wins, gonna fight at 170 is he trying to fight Leon? I don't know. Try to be the first 3 division world champion. Is that the new goal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it, but at the same time, I doubt it.
To me, this is just a ticket sale, big time, one in a decade fight. We're waiting for him to come back, especially after breaking his ankle, of course. But what is the motive here? Are you going to be?
Do you think this fight's going to sell a lot?
I really do. The name of McGregor, it's just, Josh, I hate saying it. If I wasn't a fan, honestly, I'd probably say I get the fights for free anyway. So if I was paying for this fight, I would probably say, wow, I'm not really a UFC fan, but my God, it's Conor McGregor. I got to watch this fight. I think it will sell out, Josh. I really do.
The card
Because
itself will sell
the
out.
PR sold out in what, like 3 or 4 minutes. All the standing room only basically. So I think it
I
will sell
agree.
out.
I agree that the tickets will sell out, but I'm talking about buyers, like pay-per-view buys. I personally don't think it's going to sell as much as people think, and I just think people aren't. I think as a whole, most people know Connor's washed. I think most people know Connor's not taking this serious, and the show's kind of over.
Mhm.
And he can't. He's not going to recapture that glory days of beating Aldo.
Oh,
That's in the
sure.
past. MMA is not a sweet story. This is not a sport where it's a movie ending and all things are glitz and glamour. It ends with you being knocked out. And realistically, we've already seen Connor get knocked out, and it's probably going to happen again with Michael Chandler. So I know it's going to sell well. It might end up being the highest grossing as far as pay-per-view buys, but I don't think it's going to be what they're expecting personally.
Okay, agree with that. Fair. That's fair assessment. One thing I do want to talk about really quick, Josh, is man, kind of it's sad to say, is Dustin retiring or not? What's your take on that?
Yes, I think he's done.
You think he's done?
I
Okay.
hope he is done personally. What else do you got to prove? I mean, it's unfortunate that he can't be champion, but he's been hinting at it for a little bit. And then I remember seeing an interview with Connor. I think it was after the Connor fight, where he's basically like he hates this now. He really doesn't care about like necessarily the fights, but like the fighting game and how he kind of wants to get out of it. So he said, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So be a family man, spend time with your daughter and your wife, and be a family man, and worry about the hot sauce. You ain't got nothing left to prove. He's taking a lot of damage in MMA.
Yeah.
And I would just say spend time with your kids. So I hope he's done, and we're gonna miss him because he puts on nothing but great fights. But I think the time is now. He's putting your best foot forward.
I agree 100%. I hate to say, I think he is definitely going to retire. He made all the right things to say regarding the family, the wife, taking time with them, how many birthdays he's basically missed versus, now that his opportunity is to, be with the family. He's going to be missed. It's like you said, I love watching him fight. He puts on great fights no matter who it is, 100% no matter what. One of those fighters that do that, Josh. So if it is, where would you rate him, Josh, in the UFC history in his division once he's gone, if it is a farewell gone?
I think he's top 10. I think he's the
Top 10,
top 10 greatest ever. Possibly like that. That's being extremely nice. I think he's easily top 15. His resume, his resume is like legitimately elite. He's fought everybody in that division, and he's beating. Like here's the thing: it's one thing to be like a Donald Cerrone, where you fought all the big names, but you lost to pretty much all the big names. He's beaten some very good fighters, and he's beaten some champions. So some former champions. So yet and still, we got to pay respects to Dustin. He is a dog. He is definitely in my top 10, and I'll probably put him towards like the 10-9-ish area.
Okay, I love how you said that because I was going to actually mention that name, Cowboy, Cerrone there. I don't want him to turn into one of those fighters where you're just in there to get a paycheck. I just don't want to see that because there's a difference between fighting and winning, fighting with passion, or fighting, versus just going out there to build your record, to build something. I did a list a couple days ago on Twitter. I had him at number 10 for me all time.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. And he's one of the few people who I think should be a Hall of Famer that hasn't been champion. I'm a big stickler on Hall of Fame. I think if you've never won a belt, you shouldn't be a champion. Ooh. He's one of the rare exceptions of I'm okay with him being in the Hall of Fame just because he has beaten, and he does have an interim, and he has beaten so many great fighters.
Agree. Well, so UFC, I want to ask you something because I was looking at your Facebook, and I tell you something. I didn't get to see this fight yet, Josh. Can you tell me what I can look forward to in the 5 rounds of this Deontay Wilder fight? I didn't watch it yet. I know the outcome. Josh, should I? Because Deontay, I read your post. I've seen everything. I don't want to watch it now, but can you describe it really quick for me?
Simple and plain. Just watch the highlights. There's no need. There's absolutely no need to watch the fight in general. You'll gain nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. You'll watch it and you'll say okay, and then you'll see the knockout and say all right, that's what I needed to see, and then you're gonna be off about your day. So watch the highlights. That's what happened, and Deontay Wilder needs to retire.
That bad, huh? That bad.
I mean, yes, he's looked terrible his last few fights. And once against another guy who I put money on, but hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. He's older. I mean, if you're losing to a 41-year-old and he looks like the younger, fresher fighter, and he's not, and then also his hand speed looks better than yours, combinations look better than yours, and you're the younger guy, you're the smaller guy. I mean, brother, what are we doing here? Like it was terrible. I felt bad for Wilder because he embarrassed himself, and we ain't never seen him get slept like brother did a 360 and then caught another one. Like it was like I said, you don't need to watch nothing, watch the highlights, or just go to Twitter and see the knockout itself. Once you see the knockout, you saw the fight.
Wow, I'm glad you told me that, Josh, because I would have wasted 15 minutes of my life basically when I could saw something in 15 seconds. Oh boy. Josh, once in a while we got to get in here and talk about. We're going to do the show every other week. Right before the pay-per-view comes on. Of course, we'll be recapping it, giving our picks and predictions, of course, for UFC 303 coming up here in about 3 weeks, of course. But Josh, boxing. Who's your favorite boxer
of all time, or like right now?
Right now.
Oh, Errol Spence.
Errol Spence. I love the last name. Without the R there. But the reason why I say that is because I'm really good friends with Trayshawn Wiggins. He's the NAB welterweight champion of the United States right now. He actually lives 3 blocks down from me. Funny story is he trains out of Castle Boxing with Brock Hall. About a year ago, I went there when I first met him. He was like, jump in the ring with me. I'm 52 years old. I ain't about to be in no ring with a champ. I got in the ring. We were sparring a little bit. I said something to him I shouldn't have said. Next thing I know, it was on. He clicked me one time, and I tell you what, Josh, I never thought this was real. Smelling salt does work.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
I've always wondered that. I see it in movies all the time. I'm like, that's a weird thing. I was like, that doesn't really work like that. They say it does. I'm like, how does that wake you up?
I don't know, Josh, but all I know is I got the video of it. I was down for about 10, 15 seconds, and then next thing I know, someone went by my face, and I jumped up, and I was like, are we ready to go? They're like, you're done. Sit down. You okay? What happened? Look at the phone. I'm like, oh, that happened? It was just a one jab to the face. Yeah. Because he's on the Don King label. He was supposed to fight. His fight got canceled because of PR from Don King.
Oh, okay. That's dope.
Yeah. He's definitely a good
thank God I ain't got no story like that.
But it's something I could always say, hey, listen, who was ranked, because he's the 10th ranked boxer right now in WBC boxing, weight-wise. And, I can always say, hey, at the time he was number 11. I was like, who can say they were knocked out by the 11th best fighter in the world? You know what I mean? I was, hey. Well, Josh, hey, man, listen, it has been a privilege. I am so stoked to talk about UFC with someone that watches it, loves it, passionate about it, and even lived it himself, too. But, Josh, before we get out of here, can you tell everybody once again where they can find you? And I want to grow this show, of course, and it's been a privilege to work with you tonight, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You guys can follow me on social media at Papa Showtime, PAPA Showtime, one word. You can also follow me on Facebook and all that good stuff as well at Josh Showtime. Once again, I'm always talking sports on there. I talk a lot of trash, so don't take anything personal. I just like to have fun. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got 93 live viewers right now. Watching from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. So I appreciate all the love out there. So guys, we'll be back in 2 weeks again, Josh, to talk about it. Josh, real quick, what teams do you follow, Josh? I know you're from Indiana, usually down in Maryland, correct?
I'm from Indiana. Let's get that correct. Hold on. Let me just.
What part of Indiana? What part of Indiana?
I live in Indianapolis. I live in Indy.
I was born in Speedway.
Oh, okay. Spark plugs.
Yes.
So I've lived here for like 3 years now, but I'm from Maryland. Yeah, originally.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm not a Maryland sports team fan at all, except for the college. I do love Maryland Terps. But as far as like Commanders and all that, no, I'm not with that. I'm actually a Carolina fan for everything, except for now WNBA. I'm an Indiana Fever fan. Let's go, Caitlin Clark. But yeah, Charlotte Hornets, Panthers, Tar Heels, anything Carolina, I'm normally with.
Gotcha. I love that. Person other. I'm a Hoosier fan. Basketball, of course. NBA, WNBA, really haven't got around to it yet. But I love the Caitlin Clark effect. Have you been to a game yet at home?
No, I haven't gone to a home game. Actually, it's funny. I live in Indy, but I went to a away game when I was on my baby moon with my wife. We went to the LA Sparks and Fever game, which was our first win. So it was really dope. We are going to go to the home game, though, probably against the Chicago Sky, but we're definitely going to go to a home game. Got to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, represent your city. Caitlin Clark, something great for the WNBA. Love how Angel Reese, Carmadola came out. Cameron Brink came out. I love how these girls are coming out.
Hey,
Finally.
Naptown. Once again, I ain't from here, but I like being here right now. It is a poppin' city. We got Anthony Richardson coming back. We already had the Pacers who was in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we got Caitlin Clark. It's been honestly it's been a poppin' city as these past few months. So hopefully we build on it. We can get 3 playoff teams that are in this city, and then we just had an All-Star game here a few months ago.
Yeah.
It's been live. I've been appreciating it.
Yeah, I miss my hometown. I was born, but Indianapolis. I've lived 3 blocks from turn 3 of the Indianapolis 500. I remember back as a young buck, my dad used to take me up top to the attic, climb out the window, and we could see over turn 3. But they built so much on it, you can't see anything inside the grandstand anymore. But
I'm never ever going to Speedway. I'm okay. It's not for me. It's not for me.
I'm not. That's one thing I don't watch. I don't watch NASCAR. I don't watch Indy racing. But I love to drive fast. So I love cars. But that's something I can't sit there for 3 hours just watch. People making a left turn.
I didn't realize people actually cared until I moved here. They actually love it here. They love it. They love it.
Half my family, Josh, every year was a tradition. I just told my Uncle Tom, who lives in Mooresville, Indiana, right down there. He was like, Paul, you got to get down here. We got to relive the tradition. I'm thinking yeah, maybe I'll do it, but I can't sit there for 4 hours watching a left turn constantly for 4 hours. Not happening. Not happening. Well, Josh, hey, listen, man, this is Inside the Octagon. I appreciate you hopping on. It's the debut of it. Hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. I can't wait for 2 weeks to hop on here again, Josh. So, Josh, let's give a preview of what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks. I know that 303 is coming up, Josh.
Yes, sir. It's been a little disappointing with that card a little bit, though. But because I was expecting with the co-main, it was supposed to be what was it supposed to be? It was supposed to be Jamal Hill versus Roundtree. That blew my mind that he tested positive. I was so hurt, but thank God for Jamal Hill because that would have ended very bad for him. But I will say MVP versus Ian Gary is going to be fireworks. I am excited.
Agree. Now this one's over. Where's this one taking place at, Josh?
You recall where? Vegas? Hold on. I think it should be Vegas.
I think it is. I think it is at the.
No, I lied. It's not in Vegas. It's in Europe because that's why they were talking about the. Hold on.
Oh, that's right. Dublin, right? It's in Dublin, right?
It's not in Dublin. We can triple check actually. So I might be wrong and it might be in Vegas and I look stupid. It's in T-Mobile Arena. It's in Vegas. I lied. The next card is in Europe.
Dublin.
It's in England.
England. Yep. Okay. All right, sounds good. So we'll definitely be talking about the 303, giving our predictions. Of course, we'll talk about that. So, guys, listen, I appreciate everybody hopping on right now. We're at 99 live viewers. Appreciate all the love out there. Please support the channel, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Out of the Box, also Papa Showtime, all of Josh channels. We will link that to our channels as well. So please follow both of us there. We talk about sports. We love sports. We keep it real. No matter what, our opinions are our opinions. Like it or love it, please debate us. Let us know whatever you think. We're here for the long ride, no matter what. It can't hurt our feelings, man. That's the one thing. So, Josh, you ready to get out of here, man?
Yes, sir.
All right, for myself, Paul Spencer, that is the man, Josh Showtime. You've watched Inside the Octagon. We'll be back in 2 weeks, same time, same channel, Monday night, 8:30, to talk about UFC 303 predictions. And until then, stay blessed, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Deuces.